Greetings. Welcome back to Bantha Fodder. It's Halloween time. Welcome to Halloween Town. I've got a Halloween shirt. Sort of. Nightmare Before Christmas. Is it a Christmas movie or is it a Halloween movie? You guys will have to aware me. It is a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie. Which one is it? Anyway, it's Halloween time, so I thought we'd talk a little bit about Halloween, or what shall I call it? The decay of Halloween, the death of Halloween. I'm always declaring the death of this, the death of this, the death of that, the death of everything. Not everything's dying all the time, but I feel like Halloween as a holiday has not died, but it's lost a lot of its power. It's lost a lot of its joy, and it's lost a lot of what made Halloween great for me as a kid. And what I really think about a lot when it comes to Halloween is that the decline of Halloween is really the decline of America in a bunch of ways, or the decline of our society as a high trust sort of society. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So for a lot of people, we've noticed that Halloween is not what it used to be. Now, in some places it is. In the last place I lived, which was out in rural California, that great word, rural again. Out in rural California, our neighborhood was crazy about Halloween, even during the pandemic. And all of our houses were really right next to each other. So for the kids to go trick-or-treating was not a big deal. They just walked in a big circle and could hit like 100 houses, and the candy buckets were completely full, and they talked to like 100 people before they'd even walked around the block, because the way the houses were like right on top of each other, one after the other. But that was an exception, because at our previous neighborhood, it wasn't like that. And our current neighborhood, it's not really like that either. I live in Texas now, and you would think Texas has a little bit more going on in terms of the festive attitude than California, but I think it's declined quite a bit. And what has replaced it, as far as I've seen, is a lot of trunk or treat kind of stuff, like people doing, let's go to the church, and at the church, everyone will have 40 different booths, and kids can walk in a circle and get a bucket full of candy from all of these different groups. And that's our trick or treat experience. We're not going to go door to door. Why don't people want to go door to door anymore? Besides the fact that it's inefficient, right? Like it's some kind of efficiency thing. We have to go and be very efficient and get lots of candy. Maybe that's a terrible way to think about anything really like that. It's like, it's efficient. We should do things that are efficient. But efficiency is the key. Nah, I don't really think that way. And I don't think that trick-or-treaters would really think that way either. I think what we are actually talking about is a decline in trust. For your kids to go trick-or-treating in 1985, it was completely safe. You didn't have to go with them, you know? Now, my parents usually went with me when I was trick-or-treating when I was little, because my sister was little, but like, I knew lots of kids that their parents didn't go trick-or-treating with them. They just went around the corner on their own. When they were 8 or 10 or whatever, they just went on their own. They didn't need their parents to go trick-or-treating. Why? Because no one was going to abduct you. No one was going to really hurt you. The biggest drama that we had were people stealing, like teenagers stealing candy from kids. Teenagers would roll up in a car and they'd jump out and they'd steal the candy and ride away with it. And I remember I had a friend who got a cell phone stolen that way back in like 1999. He was a teenager, but like bigger teenagers stole the phone. Actually, no, we were in junior high. So that would have been like 1995, right? And now, when I was a teenager, I did have a friend. He ended up in prison. Now, this won't be surprising when I tell you this. His stepdad had him and another friend of mine. They got in the back of their truck and they drove around the neighborhood, jumping out and stealing candy from kids. Now, why a couple of 16-year-old boys need bags full of candy, I could never imagine. Like, what are you going to do with that candy? You're going to eat all that candy? Maybe they could. Maybe they could eat all the candy. I don't know. But the point was, I think they enjoyed stealing. They enjoyed like the evil part. They enjoyed the mischief of it. So, maybe that's like the leading edge of the lack of trust. But, you're not going to send your kids into a weird neighborhood. You're going to worry about them getting hurt. You're going to worry about them getting assaulted. You're going to send them over to a stranger person's home. That feels weird now because you don't know your neighbors anymore. Everybody's a stranger. So it's not going to feel as safe as it did once upon a time. I feel very safe in my neighborhood. I know all my neighbors really well. But one of the things I noticed in my neighborhood is that the trick-or-treaters are not from this neighborhood. And I know because they're the wrong ethnicity. Because I know all my neighbors. And there's not a lot of black families in this neighborhood. There's only like 2 or 3 that I know of, and like every trick-or-treater's a black kid. Now, I actually don't resent the black kids coming in at all because they're there and they're having a great time. They're like, we're going to go to this neighborhood that has these big houses and they give away giant candies. It's like, yeah, enjoy that. I'm all for it. If you want to drive out here and this is what makes you excited is to come down to the super highly decorated houses and get big pieces of candy, then I'm all for it. As long as you feel happy and festive about it. I don't really need you to be from my neighborhood, but I know lots of people around here, they turn their lights off. They don't want people coming in for Halloween because the kids are not from this neighborhood. They don't feel like they are their fellow person, if that makes any sense. They're from the other neighborhood over there. They're not our kids. Like, well, we didn't used to think that way at all. And in fact, we used to get excited. Like, we're going to go. I lived in Southwest Bakersfield when I was a little kid. And all the way up to like junior high. Like in elementary school, I lived in Southwest Bakersfield. And we had our neighborhood, which was a nice neighborhood. It was called the Oaks. And then we had the Hagen Oaks, which was the expensive neighborhood, and that was the next one over. And that expensive neighborhood was everyone would want to go there and a trick-or-treat because you'd get better candy, but the houses were more spread out. They went really crazy with the decorations, that kind of stuff. So people loved to go to that next neighborhood over, but people did not go to their neighborhoods. Like every neighborhood was into trick-or-treating, was into doing the Halloween thing. Now it's been a decline, and most of the neighborhoods that I see now, most of the houses are dark. People might decorate, but they don't have their lights on for Halloween. They're not giving out candy. Instead, they're doing their trunk or treat things because that's a safe little walled in garden where it's like, yeah, we're going to go to the church and the church has a trunk or treat. And I know everyone at the church. I trust everyone at the church, and we're going to get together. We're going to have our little thing here, and we'll get to dress up. We'll get to enjoy our costumes. We're in our community, our little church community, and we don't have to worry about the riffraff stealing the candy or anything like that. It just kind of goes along with the decline of trust in our society, where we no longer view the other people from our town as part of our community. We view them as with suspicion. We don't know them. Maybe they're outsiders. Maybe they're foreigners. Maybe they're just people that we don't interact with a lot. And we don't really consider them part of like our general community. Like it's our neighborhood only and no other neighborhoods, which was never how it was in the 80s and 90s. So I've seen this decline in Halloween, and Halloween, I feel like peaked around 2000, maybe. Like it had a big peak where people were really excited about Halloween and doing everything. And maybe we're just kind of returning more to normal. But I see fewer and fewer families that are excited to do their trick-or-treating thing and excited to do costumes and excited to decorate. Our house is like way decorated. We do a ton of decorations. We love Halloween in our house, but I'm aware that it's as a cultural thing, it's kind of on the wane. It's on the wane. The only people who were really opposed to Halloween when I was a kid were people that were extremely religious, like people that were maybe, you know, Jehovah's Witnesses, you know, or someone else who was like a really very religious person that viewed Halloween as like the devil's holiday or something like that. They didn't like Halloween because they thought it had some sort of evil thing to it. And that, I've seen that attitude is still around, but mostly it's people that are like, no, we just don't really feel safe doing it. And they may not come out and say it. Occasionally, if you get them on, they're like, I don't feel safe with my kids going trick-or-treating. No, there's too much mischief. There's people, I don't know them. I turn my lights off because it's a bunch of kids from outside the neighborhood. I don't know what they're going to do. You know, they're going to steal the candy. And this is also the season where you're going to see a bunch of Ring doorbell cams of people rolling up and there's take one candy and someone just dumps the whole thing in. We had that neighbor left the candy out to use the bathroom, came back and all the candy was gone. One kid came up and like took all the candy. Just zero view of the other people as human beings, right? No care about the other people or even viewing them as like fellow humans. They're not kin, so they don't matter. That kind of thing, right? That's what we're inheriting with Halloween. But anyway, let's take a look at the chat and see what's going on here with the chat. You look like Sandman from Detective Comics. That's cool. It's my wizard hat and a little black thing, and these are glasses with fake eyes. My eyes are actually up here, like you can see them. Hi, right? But you kind of get the light above you, and I can actually turn it up, and you'll. Oops, no, that's not the button. Here we go. I could turn it up quite a bit, and you don't see the eyes for a while. As long as the light is kind of above you, then the illusion holds. And my son's going to use this for a black mage costume. I think he's going to have like a whole mask, and we have these yellow ones that we're going to pin on. So he's going to be a black mage from Final Fantasy 1, and I think that's going to be a pretty fun costume, I would say. Let's see here. Halloween hot this year or pleasantly warm? I think it's pleasantly warm, but it's a Friday, so it has the potential to be big because it's on a Friday, and so I think that will make a difference for a lot of people. It's more fun to go out on Friday. You feel like you could stay out later and things like that. You know, Halloween has become highly commercialized. I don't view that as the problem. The commercialization is not the problem. It's the fact that people aren't a community anymore. And so it's more like, can you decorate the competitive, like there's so much community in Hollywood, in Halloween before, where it's, you're trick-or-treating to your neighbors. Your neighbors are trick-or-treating at your house. You are putting on a costume to try to have the best costume around, the coolest costume. You know, there's a competitive thing to it. Or your decoration's going to be the coolest. You're going to carve the coolest pumpkin. And that's still there a little bit, but I think it's declined quite a bit. Yeah. Where I'm from, Halloween was a kid's holiday. Now millennial hipsters took it over because they can't celebrate Thanksgiving or Christmas because they're problematic. Interesting. I don't know about that. Mostly it's parents, right? So like Halloween is a big deal for parents. We're the ones who get excited because kids love to dress up. We get to shop at the costumes and the kids love to go out. It's really about me and the kids, kind of like Christmas gifts are fun because kids enjoy getting gifts and you enjoy buying gifts for kids. But for Halloween, it's like the fun part is the kids get to go trick-or-treating. That's the fun part, you know. I never trick-or-treated as a kid. It wasn't something I ever wanted to do in the 90s or early 2000s. I just watched horror movies and candy at home, yeah. As we got older, we started doing that, but we loved trick-or-treating as kids. And we started to see like teenagers trick-or-treating more as time went on. And there was this, teenagers shouldn't be trick-or-treating. They're too old to trick-or-treat. I'm like, let them trick-or-treat. Just let them do that. Let them enjoy this little event. Let them have fun. Like the anti-fun brigade has always been against people enjoying things. Like, it's like, these kids aren't from the neighborhood. They're just here for candy. I'm like, well, I have candy that I bought and I don't want to eat it, so they can have it. And they can enjoy the decorations and enjoy a night. Like, how many nights do they get to just enjoy being with their mom or dad or like with their brothers and sisters or whatever, or even their friends, like going out and seeing like, can we get some cool candy and look at some cool decor? Let them have a night, you know? I'd much rather than be trick-or-treating than doing other bad things, right? I prefer it to be more of a kid's holiday rather than the spooky season it's become. This is kind of why I like Nightmare Before Christmas, is it's really about the fun of it. Like, the spookiness is really just serving the fun. Like, the people of Halloween Town are spooky in their own way, but they don't view themselves as bad or evil, and they're not doing evil things. They're just celebrating a holiday, and they're just being themselves, you know? Your Spider-Man costume has condemned you to hell, Billy. I gotta find, I found a cool pamphlet. We went to a trunk or treat a couple years ago. They give out these pamphlets, and I saved one because it was really funny. It's like, are you going to hell, Jimmy? Jimmy, you're going to hell. You know, it's like these little Christian comic book things that they would give kids to try to scare them into, I don't know, doing whatever. It's always like the Protestant side that does this, so I don't know what their goal is, right? Like, it's like, you need to accept Jesus in your heart, and exactly how that formula works is never quite specified. But they want you to do that. I want you to go to church, basically. I heard that back in the 80s, we knew people in our neighborhood and a few surrounding ones. The neighborhood I'm in now, nobody talks to each other, and they barely acknowledge you in passing. My neighborhood has a great sense of community. I love my neighborhood. But my wife throws parties for the whole neighborhood and stuff, so it is a whole thing that we do. You know, I should turn the lava lamp on. Get a little ambiance. Low trust society. David's using the new Gozer night vision goggles. They're just like little, did I show them to you? Or I could show you the costume. Maybe you could see it, right? It's these glasses. There's just like a little, you know, one of these little cloth masks. I think it's from the SA Fishing Company. They gave me like 100 once, 100 of them. And then you just pull the hat brim low, and boom, you're a spooky black mage. I could get a hood. You can do the hood too. My dad talks about his 1950s childhood Halloween with annoyance, as if it was a burden to talk to everyone on the street and to be fussed over. I knew a few boomers like that. My dad had childhood in the 50s, therefore a boomer, therefore he always complains. I knew a few boomers like that. They didn't like any holiday except Thanksgiving. Yeah. I actually, Thanksgiving is my least favorite holiday by a very wide margin, and it's because I don't like the food. I don't like Thanksgiving food. I've never liked it. I've never liked a holiday where the point of the holiday is really to be a glutton. I don't enjoy overeating. And eating to me is a pleasurable activity, but only in the quantity that I can eat in a meal. And I don't enjoy overeating or stuffing myself or eating large amounts of rich food, because I know how it makes me feel. It makes me feel bad, right? If I were to eat a whole pie, I would feel disgusting and want to barf and feel terrible for hours. I'm just like, maybe like the better in shape I got, the less I could eat bad food in large quantities. Yeah, I can have a bowl of ice cream. But if I have just a bowl of ice cream, I'll feel bad. And if I have 2 bowls of ice cream, I'm going to want to barf. And if the 2 bowls of ice cream are following like just a meal full of shitty carbohydrates, I'm going to feel like crap. So for Thanksgiving, my wife makes me paella, which is a nice way to say, like, David, I know you hate Thanksgiving food. I'm going to make you something that you enjoy eating. And everyone else enjoys it too. They're like, paella, this is great. This is so much better than like stuffing and whatever. And I think so. But you know, the Thanksgiving thing in general of like, we're going to get together and eat until we fall asleep, is just not, I don't know, it doesn't jive with me. I think what's better, if you really want to feel thankful for what you have, when we have so much abundance, we should really fast for Thanksgiving. And it's not culturally or socially acceptable to do that. If I were in a place where I'm willing to like be controversial, or not controversial, but be oppositional to the people in my life I care about, then I would fast for Thanksgiving. I would have a full, you know, fast all of Thursday. Eat nothing so that you can know what it's like to not have food, right? There's lots of spiritual reasons to fast, but that would be one. It's like, I want to remind myself that there are people who cannot eat, and it's not by choice. They don't know where their next meal is coming from. They're hungry. So I'm going to eat. I'm going to fast for Thanksgiving. That would be a better way. It should be like a day of fasting. but we've made it a day of complete gluttony. We always do this in America. We take we take the intent of a holiday and we just pervert it or invert it completely. So Thanksgiving should be about like being thankful for abundance, and so we celebrate that by doing the worst possible thing, which is to engage in gluttony, right? We also do it for Christmas. Christmas is gluttonous and also materialistic. It's turned into an orgy of buying things for ourselves or for other people and eating ourselves, like eating too much. Rather than Advent, like the Advent season where we're fasting and looking forward to the incarnation of Christ, it's instead a giant commercial holiday. So I don't feel like the commercialization of Halloween is necessarily bad, because to me, that's part of the festive fun. The commercialization is like, you're going to buy decorations and have fun decorating. Okay. You're going to buy candy and have fun giving it away. Okay. You're going to buy costumes and have fun dressing up for each other, right? It's not like we have to have this orgy of consumer spending or the economy will collapse, which is how people talk about Christmas, which I just really do not like, that aspect of it. And so with Christmas, it's rather than it being a penitential season, it becomes a pleasure season, which is a little not what you want to be feeling when you're looking forward to, the birth of the Savior or what have you. And I feel like we've done that with most of our other holidays too, to some extent. We pervert them. Halloween becomes less about sort of mocking the devil and more about being scary. That's a perversion, right? We have to be honest about that. People talked about the spooky season in the chat. It's less about we're going to dress up as monsters because it's All Hallows Eve and the saints will vanquish, the saints will come with Christ and vanquish all the monsters, right? It becomes less about mocking the devil and more about the devil, right? Like, we're going to watch scary movies. And I meant to do a review of Nightmare on Elm Street. Maybe I'll do that. I'll record that tonight or tomorrow, and just have that out around Halloween. Might be a fun little Halloween thing for people. And yeah. There we go. That's a little better. I feel like these are cockeyed, but I might be just, I'm not looking at the camera. I need to look at the camera. I need to face the camera with my face. Yeah. Not a bad little costume. Let's get it a little more. There we go. Boop, boop, boop. Looks cool. You can kind of see my nose here. I have to get this kind of up over. There we go. There we go. Now it's good. Now it's good. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we tend to invert the meeting. We turn it on its head, if you will. So, I think I've seen grad students trick-or-treating, to be honest. Thanksgiving is based on all fairness. Is based in all fairness. Eat and be with family, no shopping or decorating bullshit. Well, people shop. They get a start on the Christmas shopping season for Thanksgiving. Be with family. If it's obligatory, which is what it is, I'm not a fan of it. And I mostly don't like the food, Are they chick tracts? I love my dad, but he was basically complaining he had to wait to get his childhood candy because mom and dad were talking as grandparents. It's a little strange. My neighborhood still goes big. Thousands come. People set up tables and chairs in their driveways like a giant tailgate party. I'm going to cook hot dogs. I think I'm going to get my grill out and be the wizard who cooks hot dogs. I don't know if I'll wear like this. Be like spooky hot dogs. Turkey is literally worse than chicken. I think turkey's awesome. I eat turkey every day if I can. I think it's a great protein. It's very cheap. It's cheaper than chicken on average. So, if you're like looking for a meat that's going to be a great protein source, I think turkey is a phenomenal choice. It's great. It's often some kind of bad experience that kept them from liking holidays. Yeah. I usually fast here 24 hours before the big meal. See, to me, to fast and then eat till I'm in a stupor also sounds horrible to me. I'm Eastern Orthodox, and my patriarchate has an Advent fasting period before Christmas. That's standard for Catholics too. Thanksgiving was made an exception. Basically, no wine or animal product besides shellfish. The hard ones are like if it's no wine and no oil. And yeah, can you put oil in your bread? Usually they're like, if you can't see it, it doesn't count. But you can't dip your bread in the oil. You don't want to do that. But a lot of times when you're thinking of fasting, a lot of people come up with the rules and try to think about skirting the rules rather than thinking about that as a guide for the spiritual discipline of fasting, which is more about this exercise over the body and becoming more in tune with God, and not so much like I have to strictly adhere to these rules or else I'm not doing the fast correctly, right? It's more about, and you hear about this all the time. Like some people can't do it because of medical reasons. That's fine, because the point is not the point is to overcome the body, not to like destroy your body. Yeah, if it's bad for you, you're not usually going to do it, right? Yeah. The stores had Christmas stuff as of the beginning of October this year. It was crazy. Local stores are done with Halloween already. I've seen Christmas stuff for several weeks now, which is crazy. Thanksgiving feast meant something at a time in America when food was scarce and people actually had to grow their own. There you go. Exactly. But now food is not scarce. Food is not scarce and you don't grow your own. So it'd be better to keep that meaning by going, today we're going to remember the hungry by fasting, and tomorrow we'll eat a small meal. Wait, one meal. So like fast on Thursday, eat one meal on Friday. So that's kind of like a lot of the Catholic standard practice is like you can eat one meal on like these certain fast days and you can't eat more than that. Yeah. A new movie review. Yeah, I was going to do Nightmare on Elm Street just as like, or maybe some other retro ones. Nightmare on Elm Street's great because it has Johnny Depp. I think it's his first movie. It's Johnny Depp's first movie. And it's a great example of how to make a movie on a budget. It's super low budget. There's not a lot of, there's no expensive set pieces. The music is composed and performed by one person. It's an electronic movie score, which is fantastic. That means that you just don't have to spend a lot of money on an orchestra and all that kind of crap. It's a great example of what you can do on a budget. I think horror is a perfect genre to do if you have a limited budget. And you don't have to do... Freddy Krueger is a perfect example that, like, good makeup effects can do a whole lot. You don't need expensive CG or crazy monster puppets that are really expensive. You can have a guy in great makeup, which is so much cheaper usually to do, even with a fabulous artist. It's only one great guy you have to pay to do it, and have it be so effective, and the rest of it is just costuming work, things like that. Look, what is Freddy Krueger's costume? It's like a sweater, like some glove they put together, and like the makeup, the burn makeup, and a hat. It's like super simple. And same thing with the original Halloween movie. It was a Bill Shatner mask that they pulled the hair out of, a Star Trek William Shatner mask. It's really funny, that Mike Myers is in the mask. And then like Friday the 13th eventually evolved into like more crazy monster effects, but it was pretty simple at the beginning. Lately in our society, even Thanksgiving became restrictive after 2016. People didn't want you at their table if you voted a certain way. That's true. That's true. Family doesn't extend beyond party lines. Christmas shopping is just stupid. Retailers that open at 5 a.m. on Thanksgiving until the plague hit. Yep. I understand it though. My wife would do it with her mom and sisters because that was actually a family activity for them. They got excited to go out, do all the Christmas shopping on Black Friday, or they never liked things being open on Thanksgiving. That was a bad turn. But Black Friday, they get up early, they do all the Christmas shopping, and they'd be done. And they would have a really good time. I got all these great deals, and I want to give it to you now, but I can't. It's always fun. Yeah. What names do they want to replace Thanksgiving with? I don't know. What am I, the Skull Kid? I don't know. I'm just a black mage. I'm a black mage. Even though this hat is actually green, but maybe you can't see it on your screen. It's a green hat. Yeah. Indigenous Peoples Day. That's Columbus Day. I love the word indigenous. It's a funny word when you think about it and how they apply it. They're like, the Sami people are the only indigenous people in Europe. And it's like, where the hell did Europeans come from then? Indigenous meant that's where they're originally from, right? Germans are indigenous to Germany, but it's like, no, what we mean are non-whites. But are Sami people not white? I mean, you can aware me. Are they not white? I thought they had white skin, but they're a different ethnic group in sort of like northern Finland and I think Russia too. The Sami people, right? In Scandinavia. I'm confused. You said you don't like Thanksgiving food, but you say you like turkey. The number one, I hate the way turkey's made on Thanksgiving. I despise the way people cook turkey. It's terrible. Roasted turkey, like taking a whole bird and roasting it. First of all, the birds of yore were very small. So if you're roasting a wild turkey, you could probably pull it off because they're this big, right? But we're taking a 20-pound, maybe 30-pound bird and trying to roast it. No. If I were to make turkey my way, it would actually be to cut it up, to breast it, to do all that kind of stuff, and cook all the pieces separately or fry them or things like that. Talk about when I get turkey, I get like cut turkey breast, things like that, or maybe lunch meat. You can get it. It's super cheap, man. It's so cheap. You can get it from the deli for like nothing, pre-cooked, put it on a sandwich. I put it in a big rolled up taco thing and eat that, right? It's a incredibly cheap source of protein. Whether you're doing turkey roll or you're doing like fresh cut turkey breast, or turkey roll is actually better, believe it or not. I know people are like, turkey rolls processed garbage. It's like, but they take the whole bird and turn it into the turkey roll. So you get more of the different kinds of meat rather than just turkey breast, which is the really lean. If you're trying to be really lean with your meat, then the turkey breast is that way. And I like turkey sausage, which is made of organ meats. Like, finding ways to get more organ meats in my diet has been sort of on my mind. Sausage is probably the best way to do it. Sausages have organ meats. Sausages are really good for you in limited quantities because they tend to be high in fat. Organ meat tends to be high in fat. It's all good. Yeah. I hate roast turkey. I hate it. And I hate the way... I love roast turkey, but I hate roast turkey, if that makes sense. I hate the way people make turkey at Thanksgiving, and I hate all the things that go with it. I hate stuffing, like cranberry sauce. I'm like, I will eat cranberries. I don't want cranberry sauce. It's gross. I don't want to put it on turkey. That's disgusting to me. Stuffing is always like nauseating to me. I just really don't like Thanksgiving food, and it's okay if you like it. I'm not trying to say you guys need to also hate what I hate. No, just like... I don't like that, but there's never anything different. It's always like, we're going to have Thanksgiving. It's like, great. I have to go to this place where it's a bunch of food that I don't want to eat and talk to people. And then I'm going to get shit for not eating. That's always what it is. Like, why aren't you eating? I don't like this food. And I'm not so hungry I need to eat it. So I'm not going to eat it. It's like, what the hell's wrong with you? Why don't you eat our food? This person worked really hard on this. Why don't you eat it? Everyone eat it. It's like there's so much social pressure to eat the damn food. I hate it. I hate it. I hate the social pressure so much more than I dislike any of the food. So I eat some rolls, maybe a piece of turkey. And then I just get shit talked on me every year my entire life because I don't want to eat some of the food for Thanksgiving because I'm not stuffing my face like a fat pig with pie and disgusting slop of stuffing or dressing or whatever the hell they want to call it. Here's yams. They're like whipped potatoes, whipped sweet potatoes. I'm like, that's gross. I feel like I'm a person without teeth eating mashed potatoes, and that's probably who it was made for, was like old people without teeth. But I have teeth, so I don't want to eat mashed potatoes. They're disgusting to me. Whipped yams are gross to me. I eat a ton of vegetables. I eat like 7 pounds of vegetables. I eat like a pound of vegetables a day or something. I remember I figured it out once. It's a lot. But it's all raw. I don't cook vegetables. I eat only raw vegetables. I'm so weird. I'm such a weirdo. But yeah, it's like, here's this cooked broccoli. I'm like, I'll eat the raw broccoli maybe, but I'll eat a carrot. But it's like, how many people, eat an entire carrot? Like very few people will just eat a whole carrot. But I can, I like shredded carrots on stuff like, I don't know. I thought I was the only fool. Yeah, turkey roll's great, but I'm watching my salt. If you have a medical issue that makes you have to watch salt, I understand that. Most people, I grew up in a time when people were like, no salt. Salt is bad for you. And then it turns out salt is not only not bad for you, you need salt or you'll die. You need salt. So I've never cared about watching my salt. I don't have any heart or kidney issues that would make salt an issue for me. So I just enjoy the turkey roll. Yeah, I hate that too, actually. Yeah, it's good to know that other people don't like the traditional food that we've kind of settled into for Thanksgiving. This like giant slow roasted bird with no flavor to it, you know. I remember one time I cut up the turkey. I had to carve the turkey one year, and I carved the turkey and I put a couple pieces on my plate and I just put Tabasco sauce all over it. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, it doesn't taste like anything. I need it to like at least have something in my mouth that tastes like flavor, but it's still like eating cardboard. It comes out dry. I'm like, how do you make it not dry? I'm like, I know how to make it not dry. You don't cook a whole 25-pound bird. You don't do that, okay? You quarter it up. You do what you do the way you process a chicken. And there's like a video on YouTube of like how to buy whole chickens and get all the pieces of the chicken and cook those. That's what you do. You don't cook the whole bird. I mean, you can cook a whole chicken, but like you have to think that the people cooking turkeys, wild turkeys in 1780 or 1680 or whenever, the wild turkey is the size of a modern chicken. It's not. Especially those old turkeys. Like you can get Rio Grande turkeys that are pretty freaking big, but like a Miriam's turkey or whatever they have in the East, it's not that big. So it's as big as a modern chicken. And so, yeah, you can cook that whole bird, but somehow we carried that tradition on. I need to have a 28-pound bird to feed my 5 people, and it just comes out terrible. But I'll tell you how to cook the turkey right. If you want to do it good, here's what you do is you process it. You cut the breasts. So you get the breasts off. They're huge. They're like, woo. You actually can't cook the whole breast very easily, but I could give you some tips for how to do that. But what you basically do is you take the breast and you butterfly it. You cut it in half. You open it up, and it's huge. You put it on a grill. You grill that breast with whatever seasoning you want. Salt and some cut up onion or whatever you want. You grill it either on like a skillet or you grill it on like a grill. And that will be really good. And it will not take that long to cook. 20 minutes. Okay. Take the turkey leg that you would get in Disneyland. You're actually going to want to like take all the meat off that leg and cook it in some other way. Like basically make shredded chicken like you would for tacos. Shredded turkey, that would be pretty good, like turkey tacos. I don't know too many people to do that, but you could like roast the leg, and that might be a cool thing. Like we could have a big turkey leg. But the main thing is like you gotta cut that breast into smaller pieces and make it thinner so you can actually cook it in a way that it makes it taste good. And you do the same thing with like the thighs. You process the thighs into 3 pieces and you cook those. Like I could grill an entire turkey and it would be delicious, but no one wants that. People want to have a bird come out and sit on the table, and I have to carve the bird and we each get a piece of the meat, and it's like bad. I don't know. Some people like it, but I feel like maybe my food standards are just too high. I don't know. Maybe my food standards are too high. You know, it's like trying to fry the turkey. It's still better to cut the pieces up and fry those pieces. Cut it into make turkey strips. Hey, we all like tendies. Make the turkey strips, and there are turkey tenders, by the way. Just like with the chicken, you can do turkey tenders and like cook the whole thing that way and like have a big fried turkey bonanza, and that would be delicious. But no one ever does that. And if you did it, someone would be like, it's not really traditional. I brought my stuffing. Why did you make French fries? It's like, because French fries are good. That's why we made French fries. Where's the sweet potatoes? I made sweet potato fries. God, could you imagine how good that meal would be if you had like turkey tenders and sweet potato fries? And then homemade ice cream afterwards. Now I'm hungry. But no one's going to do that. People want their whatever pies and stuff like that. It's all good. Everyone gets to like their own thing. This mask is making my beard itchy. for sure. It's like poking through the mask. I could like feel my beard. Smoke the turkey and stuffing in your mouth. My dad used to cut the turkey up into pieces. Of course, we worked for poultry companies. Like my first job was for Zaki Farms, which was bought by Foster Farms in California. And so all those guys knew how to actually cook a turkey. My dad would cut it up, smoke it for hours, and it would be delicious. But like, you know, people want a big bird on the table. You know what I'm saying? Lacto-ferment vegetables. Sounds gross, but maybe it's cool. I'm sure some cultures have done it. There's like, what did the Mongols drink? Like fermented mare's milk or something? It was, whatever it was, it seemed really gross. But, hey, get you drunk. Deep Purple sang about food. My dad would debone an entire turkey, replace it with mushroom and pate stuffing, and sew it back up. That sounds really gross, but if you like that, that's up to you. I won't judge. That does not sound like it's for me. I never tried deep frying turkey, but it sounds good. It's almost impossible to do right, and it's very dangerous. You got to have a rope system rigged up, and you got to have a big thing of oil over like a, I don't know, burner, like a camp burner or something, and then you lower it in. And like, I personally wouldn't fry a turkey. I would cut up the pieces and fry those, is what I would do. My family's taken to making spiral ham, Cornish hens. Cornish hens are cool. You like to go to medieval times. Or a beef roast for Thanksgiving. We all realized one year that we got tired of turkey. Hell yeah. I'm glad everybody's on the same page. Most families are not like that. They want the traditional thing. My family here is not like, my aunts and uncles will do their own thing for Thanksgiving. And this year we might even take a trip because we're like, no one wants to do Thanksgiving. So we're just not going to do it. I too am not a fan of Thanksgiving food. My plate is usually composed of turkey, ham, macaroni, and cheese, and a roll. I'm not too crazy about the turkey and ham. Yeah. It's always the worst. Like, I feel like the turkey I have at Thanksgiving, whenever I eat it, I'm like, this is like the worst turkey I've had. Like, it's not bad. Like, you eat it and you're like, this will provide me with nutrition so that I may go on living. And I should be thankful for that. I should be thankful for that nutrition, really. But it's like, this could be better. This could be so much better than it is. I don't think most people need to watch their salt. My husband probably needs more than normal. I have high blood pressure, don't sweat, and generally retain salt. It does help people like me. Yeah, most people don't. Like I said, some people have medical, it's whatever your body is going with, you gotta watch. If you gotta watch the salt, you gotta watch the salt. But there was a certain time, like 30 or 40 years ago, where the general medical advice was people should avoid salt, that salt is actually bad for you and salt causes high blood pressure. Since then, what we've realized is that's not the case at all. If you have high blood pressure, it can be one of the things that you can do to try to lower blood pressure is to limit salt, I guess. But that's usually in combination with some other kind of medication like a beta blocker. That's my understanding. And so, but there was a belief that like salt in general was bad for you. So they would, food manufacturers and people get in their conspiracy hats and they're like, the food manufacturers took the salt out and what did they replace it with? Because the salt is where a lot of the flavor is. They replace it with more sugar. They put corn syrup in it. So it's worse for you, even though, it's supposed to be better for you because it has less salt. It's much worse for you because it has a lot more sugar. So there's that. There's definitely that. So I don't worry about my salt, and I'm not like trying to prep for a bodybuilding show where I'm like, I can't have salt or something. So, and most of the time you're sweating the salt out. You need salt. You can have, if you're getting muscle cramps and stuff, it could be because you don't have enough salt. People would eat salt tabs and stuff. I mean, the sports guys always knew that you needed salt. If I recall, the first Thanksgiving used waterfowl like geese or duck. So probably a lot less dry and more flavorful. That's a good point. That's a really good point. If you've never had like a roasted duck, it's really good. Duck, a roast mallard or a smoked mallard is just really good. Really good. You became David the Orange Wizard after partaking too much halfling leaf. You settled in Baradur and burned out. I'm with the traditional meal, but why not mix them up? Happy Thanksgiving. Here's your lasagna, shrimp, and French fries. Yeah, I think it's a cool if people are down to do different things. It's just like me growing up and me experiencing Thanksgiving with my family and with other families. It was always the standard thing. And my wife picked one dish that she could make that other people would like, that she knew I would eat, and that was paella. And I'm thankful for that, you know. My family tradition growing up was turkey at Christmas and Thanksgiving. Our family does anything else at Christmas now, at least, usually prime rib. Yeah. What's the traditional, there's a traditional fish that they eat like in the Czech Republic. I had a friend on Twitter who was like, yeah, we put the fish in the bathtub till we're ready to eat it. It's like, what? But it keeps the fish fresh. It's really fresh. You just killed it and you ate it. Sorry, got some allergies today and the mask is not helping. I might take that off in a minute. Okay, my family's always cooked the whole stuffed bird with cheeseburgers. Give me your finest food, stuffed with your second finest. Very well, sir. Lobster stuffed with tacos. My family's always cooked the whole turkey, but we never even do the spectacle of having the whole bird on the table. To carve it up and serve it in the full tray, potluck style. Yeah. I could see that. I'm sure there's people who could cook a whole bird well, but I've never seen it done. Turkey tendies and fries. I'd go for that if it were fresh. Yeah, maybe that's something I should do sometime, is like maybe do it for Christmas, because my kids are like, we got turkey nuggets, guys. Turkey nuggets and french fries. Kid style. Why not have pizza? Why not have pizza for Thanksgiving? Pizza. Guys, I made this pizza fresh. Last year for Thanksgiving, I made fresh bread. That was cool too. What's a wizard if his beard is itching? You can still cook a whole turkey and not have it dry if you don't stuff it with anything and time it perfectly. I've just never seen it done. I don't doubt you. You're right. I just haven't seen it done. Speaking of turkey legs, it's Renfest season. Yeah, we're going to the Renfest on Sunday. So if you're going to go to the Renfest in Houston, we'll be there on Sunday. I'll be around with some of my friends who are coming in from out of town. I don't think we're going to go Saturday. I think Sunday is going to be the day that we go. I think turkey legs are a bit overrated for a portable food. There's so many tiny bones. You need to bring floss. And I thought, are there really tiny bones in a turkey leg? Am I like hallucinating? I thought there weren't. Maybe you're right though. Yeah, turkey legs actually taste like Slim Jims. If you get them at Disneyland, they're like, or at the Ren Fair, it's like, I feel like I'm eating a Slim Jim. And when I worked for a poultry company, we actually made, it's mechanically separated meat is what you make Slim Jims out of. So we made the Slim Jim meat. Mechanically separated meat, aka pink slime or pink goo. It's so gross, but it's nutritional, right? It's nutrition. You know, it's still meat. It's just like the meat that's really hard to mechanically remove and make like a chunk of meat. Most people do a terrible job cooking turkey, especially since they only do it once a year. Excellent point. If you keep it moist and use lots of herbs, it can be amazing. Yeah, but again, all of this is food that you only eat one time per year. So are you really good at making it if you're only eating it once a year? Probably not. Whereas I feel like I'm damn good at making cinnamon rolls because I make those every week. My cinnamon rolls are delicious. Also filled with protein. They're high protein cinnamon rolls. Yeah. Best turkey is roast beef. I need beef gravy. Can't stand turkey gravy. I don't like gravy at all. I hate gravy, actually, of all kinds. I just don't like it. I like salt. I just eat salt. This is the saltiest thing I've ever eaten. And I once ate a heaping bowl of salt. Oh, it's less than 10% of a lethal dose. It's 10% less than a lethal dose. Oh, I shouldn't have had seconds. Yeah, the low salt era kind of went into the low fat era. Like no fat, no salt on everything. Just everything was super sugared up though. Makes a lot of sense. When you think of, people rarely think of second order effects for things. This is my rant. People never think of the second order effects. They think of like the immediate local effects and not the systemic effects, the effects of the effects of the effects. People don't usually think about that. So when a medical board makes an advisement on something like a dietary advisement, or it becomes kind of put into the common parlance that certain things are bad or to be avoided, there are secondary effects from that knowledge existing. And that is, for the example, salt is like, so let's say I'm going to communicate to you, you need to keep your salt under this amount per day for like optimal blood pressure. You're like, turns out your kidneys can get rid of most of that salt. And historically, people ate a lot more salt. But anyway, let's say that that's true. Well, a rational person would just think about their salt intake, and they would think about the salt in their foods, and they would make sure they don't have too much salt. But what happens is most people don't do that. Most people just eat what's available. They eat what's in the they eat processed foods. They eat the packaged potato chips and the packaged this and the packaged that. So they just go for what's low salt there, or the food makers respond to that information by taking out that nutrient, taking salt out. And they have to replace it with something. So the second order effect is there's more sugar in things because we took the salt out. It's the same thing with the fat. We took the flavorful fat out of the cookies, so we replace it with more sugar so the cookies still taste good. And people think that they're eating something healthy with the Snackwell cookies because they're lower in fat, but they're just higher in sugar. They're just eating more of a thing that is bad for them. Like, sugar is probably worse for you in high quantities than fat in terms of like its systemic effect on your body. So the second order effect of the low fat craze of like, for heart health, you need to have a lower fat diet, was people got diabetes and got fat from eating hyper processed sugary foods. The food got worse for them, but for most people that were health conscious, it didn't, because they weren't doing that. They weren't eating potato chips all day. They weren't eating fast food. They weren't eating processed foods. So it wasn't a big impact on them. But it's like most people just eat whatever's the most convenient thing. So the second order effect was the food got worse for them. Or they started eating food that was for worse for them because they didn't really have the whole context of that information. Right? Yeah, many of the things they said were bad over the years were just to keep people scared of everything. I don't know about that, but it gets attention. If you're like, fat's bad, you may get a spot on Oprah, and then you'll get a lot of attention and feel good about yourself for telling people how bad fat is, or how bad carbs are with the Atkins thing. Carbs are bad. How about you just don't eat too much food? Like, why were people in the 50s healthier when they ate plenty of carbs? Plenty of fat, they were eating hamburgers. Well, they didn't eat as much food and they were more active. So they ate less, they exercised more, they were thin. So you just do that better, move more and don't eat as much food. And that's probably more important than like, I have to avoid carbs. Whatever gets you to where you need to go, I support it 100%. But people in the past were plenty healthy, eating almost nothing but carbs. People had 8% body fat eating like rice. Right? It's like those shredded rice eaters. Had some local chicken the other day, cooked in lemon honey mix. And Lord, it was the best chicken I've ever eaten. Okay, I have another weird thing, which is like, I believe that like meat and eggs are higher quality if they are treated better, basically. And I worked for a poultry company, so keep all this in mind. The free range turkeys weren't really free range. Like, they had a little spot in the yard to walk around in. But if you're buying your eggs from like a local farmer who actually like treats his chickens right and doesn't have them in a giant coop, then it's like, those eggs taste better. They just do. They taste better, and they're probably better for you. I don't know if they're better for you. I can't test that, but they taste better. They feel better. And I feel that way about the meat too. Like a local chicken, it's like its chicken tastes better. It's a higher quality meat. The bird's been out moving more. It has a different diet. I used to keep chickens, right? And so the eggs from my chickens were so much better than the eggs from the store. Because what did my chickens eat? They ate like the chicken corn. They ate vegetables out of my garden that they weren't supposed to. They ate all my bell peppers. They ate my chili peppers too. They ate bugs all day long. So they had a high protein diet. They just had a way better diet, and they were out flapping around and doing all kinds of fun chicken stuff every single day. So the eggs were higher quality, and they tasted higher quality, certainly. And so I assume that extends also to like the local chicken. Is the chicken had a better life? It was more active. It was more like a wild bird, and it just tastes better. You could just taste it. It just tastes better. I'd love to do Texas Renaissance sometimes, but I'm in Florida. It's all Florida, Georgia, North Carolina for me. I dress as a hospitaller. Unfortunately, I feel like the Texas one has become more about like Dungeons and Dragons than historical anachronism. So I don't know. I feel like there's a decline there too, but it's fun. We'll go there. I buy a lot of meat. Turkey's cheap year round. Yes. Turkey per pound on sale is more expensive than breakfast cereal per pound. I know it's cheap though. Yeah. This rant bleeds into the damage of the welfare state perfectly. What, you don't like the welfare state? You hate poor people. That's it. David got all dressed up for Halloween only to talk about how much Thanksgiving sucks. I don't hate Thanksgiving, and I don't hate people who hate it. It's my least favorite holiday because it's all about the food. And like, there's so much social pressure to eat the food. I grew up with it. It was just like, it got really tired to have the adults in my life tell me how bad I am for not eating their food on Thanksgiving. And often, because I was a picky eater, but like, especially on Thanksgiving, it's like every adult in the room thought I was a piece of shit for not eating their food. It gets old. It's like, what's wrong with you? Nothing's wrong with me. I don't want to eat your sloppy shit. I think it's disgusting. I don't want to eat it. I'm choosing not to. Yeah, that's all. I'm not defective because I don't want to eat that smelly Thanksgiving turkey dressing or whatever it is. But that's how I was treated. I was treated as a defective person for not wanting Thanksgiving food. So yeah, I do have a little chip on my shoulder about that. But it's okay if that's what you like. Just most people are not like that. But that's the way I grew up. It's like intense social pressure to participate and to enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, then like it's like what it is people take it as an insult when you don't eat the food that they prepared. They're like, it's not good enough for you. I suck at cooking. I'm like, I just don't like that food. Everyone takes it so personal, and so I get it. Like, if I had ever really had an opportunity to avoid Thanksgiving as an adult, I probably would have taken it. But I just never really had that opportunity. There's too many people wanting me around, and I just felt obligated to show up for it. So I wasn't independent enough most of the time to just be like, I'm not doing Thanksgiving. You guys have fun. No personal computers in the 1950s. That's true. You just had TVs. Red meat bad stuff in the 90s. It's back. It's back, baby. They're telling you red meat is bad again. It's back. Just Google it. Is red meat bad? You gotta. Experts now think red meat is bad for you, and you should not have it more than once a week. Now, I don't have a ton of red meat in my diet, but that's just because I just don't. It's not like I'm like avoiding it for health reasons. It's expensive, so I don't eat a lot of it. That's all. I like eggs. Then eggs are bad. Then they were good. Then bad. Yeah, red meat is badly expensive. Metatron, I'm with you there. That's why I don't eat a lot of it. It's just like every time I'm like, I'm going to make a steak, I go down there and I'm like, I'm not going to make a steak. I'm not making a steak. It's too expensive. You got some crossovers with steampunk and pirate cosplays at Ren Fair. Yeah, there's like a pirate day. The Texas one, they actually have like a pirate day. I think it might be Pirate Day this weekend. I'm not sure. But they'll have that. They'll have a barbarian weekend and so it's like, yeah, you guys want to do your pirate outfits. This is the weekend you do your pirate outfit. Everyone will be doing pirates. You could do pirates too. I like that actually. It's like, cool. We'll acknowledge that you guys are into pirates. So we'll put them on this day. We'll put them on a little bit different day. Yeah. Turkey is less expensive than cold cereal per pound. Yeah, it's cheap. People always cite the cholesterol of egg yolk and forget that there's no correlation between dietary and blood cholesterol. Yeah, eating cholesterol does not make you have high cholesterol, it turns out. That people used to think that, and it seemed somewhat intuitive. If you're eating it, that must influence what's in your body. And it turns out it's more complex than that maybe, but like, yeah, that was a big fear. Chicken has high cholesterol too. Chicken is higher cholesterol as well. There's cholesterol in chicken. So is chicken bad? If you go look at the people who eat like nothing but chicken breast, their cholesterol is probably pretty low. You know, like the super health guys. Halloween costume on his shirt says, I love the welfare state. Now give me your candy. What is this apparition? My point on the welfare state is that people defend it without second order thinking about its consequences. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's think of birth control. The birth control, second order effect. So birth control is effective at the individual level. It is completely ineffective at the societal level, right? It doesn't prevent what we said it should. Oh, unwanted pregnancies will go away. Actually, they went up because it changed people's behaviors in such a way that they just engage in a lot more risky behavior that produces unwanted pregnancies, right? But it's effective at the individual level. It's ineffective kind of at the society level, but it's also effective at an even higher level where it's like, what happened to our birth rates? Why did our birth rates collapse? And people have all this thing like, it's too expensive to have kids. I'm like, it's birth control. It's that birth control works. And when people have the option to have sex without producing children, they're going to arrange their life in a way that's what's going to happen, right? They're just not going to have kids. They're going to choose not to have kids. They won't work to set up their life to have kids if kids are not going to come out of that. If that makes any sense. So yeah, birth control, it's like, oh, birth control is so important and nobody's against birth control. I'm like, I don't know. Our populational collapse is the result of birth control. You can't really blame it on anything else. Why does the first world have a population collapse? Well, it has birth control. It's a huge part of it. It's like probably the biggest part of it. But nobody wants to listen to what Paul VI had to say about it. Hard work is its own reward. Why don't you eat my food? Hard work is its own reward, you know. I have no idea why they take it personally that a meal cooked once a year was not ideal or perfect. It's strange. It's because they put their ego into it. My stuffing is so good because I like to eat it. And other people are like, I don't really want it. Maybe I'm actually a bad cook. Maybe I'm a bad cook. What am I going to do? I love red meat, but I don't eat too much for digestive reasons. Otherwise, I'd have it more. Interesting. It's mostly the digestion of my wallet. All right. The Queen at the Carolina Renaissance Fair called Henry VIII a mediocre white male. Can't I escape into history and fantasy without modern Tumblrisms? No. In fact, the people who do the Ren Fair stuff are the most wokey kind of people there are. They're super weird. The guy who ran the Texas Ren Festival forever was like, I think he died recently. He was like a super freak, dude. This guy was into weird shit. Sexually weird shit. They're really freaky, weird people. So of course they're going to say things like that because they don't actually like history. They like having orgies and being weird. And so being about history stuff is part of being weird, you know? David, you're old enough for this holiday stuff topic to not be an issue, dude. We all been there, man. Just saying. I'm talking about it because people are talking about it, you know? Oh no, you talked about something. Pirates. I heard Bill Nye is interested in returning as Davy Jones for Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. Interesting. Oh, Dead Man's Dead. There's one called Dead Man's Dead now? Dang. I'm out of the loop. We attended the Carolina Renaissance Fair this year for like 5 to 6 hours. It was crowded and felt like a theater kid production. Yep. That's how it is now. I'm not surprised at the message. Yep. Birth control may also wreck women's hormones and cause mental health issues with them. That is not an official side effect. And if you talk about it, you'll be called a misogynist. Unless you're a woman, and women are like, yeah, oh yeah, birth control made me an anxious wreck and made me feel horrible and destroyed my libido. And I stopped being attracted to my husband and my marriage broke up. But it couldn't have been the birth control. All of my feelings changed. Coincidentally, when I started taking hormonal birth control, it's like, yes, your body is a whole system. Your hormones influence your thoughts and your feelings and your mood. And so more women should talk about the side effects of birth control, the emotional side effects of birth control. It's up to women to talk about it because men are just going to be shouted down if you say, there are emotional side effects to birth control. They'll be like, you're an evil man. You don't know anything about it. You can't get pregnant. You just blast inside of women all day. Well, I think that might be your fantasy, but that's not real for me. It's like, I'm just reporting what I've seen. No one really wants to study that, right? That's the other thing, is that like there's not a whole lot of interest in studying that because that attacks the narrative of like women need to just take these pills and they're free from the burdens of childbirth and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, but if they're emotionally miserable when they're on that exogenous hormone, shouldn't that be significant? Like some women have a really bad time on birth control. Women should actually talk about that and demand that be studied a bit more. And maybe you can make a better informed decision as an individual, whether you want to use that. Just saying. When I learned about the birds and the bees, I'm about out of time. I only wanted to go for an hour today, so that's all I'm going to do. When I learned about the birds and the bees in school, the teachers were mocking abstinence education. Looking back, they always groomed kids into that lifestyle. I'm going to link some books real quick. Let's link some spooky books. All right. Demon Ex Machina. A lot of you guys got this one for free because, anyone mentioned that birth control is connected to breast cancer? I've seen that too, but I think that has more to do with the fact that breast cancer is responsive to hormones. So birth control tends to be higher on the hormone level. It's not that it like causes cancer, but it can stimulate the growth of breast cancer. But that's my understanding. I'm not a doctor. But yeah, there's a relation to that. Yeah. The rise of nerd culture. Yeah. Nerd culture became just a packaged rebellion. Like the Anthrax song. All right. Sorcerer's Blood. Here's another spooky one. Sorcerer's Blood. Boom. Oh, that didn't work. I'm having trouble seeing with all of this crap on, so here we go. Sorcerer's Blood. Let's do Voices of the Void. Getting all my horror books out here for spooky time. We'll do Eyes in the Walls. I've written so many books I can't find the links. Eyes in the Walls, Eyes in the Walls, Eyes in the Walls, Eyes in the Walls. Eyes in the Walls. Grab Eyes in the Walls. Is there any other horror book I've written? I don't know. Wasting Desert. Fantasy horror. Check it out. What else we got? Anything else that I'm forgetting? I think that's going to be most of the horror stuff. Anyway, that's that. The Kindle version of King Leopar's out, so you guys can grab that as well. I'll link that too. And a lot of this stuff you get for free on my Patreon, so let me link the Patreon before I go here. Man, I was watching one of your Livestream lectures this morning, and you mentioned that a lot of readers don't read prose and skip to the dialogue. That's true. Second time I've heard that this week. Mein Gott. Yeah. This is from Elmore Leonard, and then I've talked to a lot of readers. They're like, yeah, I skim the paragraphs and I jump to the dialogue because that's where the story happens, is in the dialogue. Eyes in the Walls, must read. Thank you, Wade Roberts. I appreciate that. All right, I think that's about it for this time. I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out with me. Lots of scary books for you to read and scary stuff to see. Maybe I'll have a little retro movie review if I can find time to record it tonight. Getting ready for all the Halloween stuff, getting all the costumes together, and I will see you all next time. I should turn this down a little bit. Ooh, spooky. I'll see you all next time. You guys have a happy Halloween and everything else that goes along with it. I will hope you have a great week. I'll see you next week, same time, 6:30 Central. If I do any other streams, like game streams or whatever, that won't be scheduled right now till I figure out what the heck I want to do with those. There you go. Young adult readers aren't much into reading plays. If you had a play and then just had some prose in it, it's fine. A lot of stuff actually reads like plays. I remember reading, I think it was Hunger Games. It's like in present tense. And I'm like, it's just like someone put a screenplay. They reformatted a screenplay, and that's what you're reading. And people really liked it, though. So, what do we learn from that? I don't know. I guess we learned that, like, not everyone gets to be Mervyn Peake. And Mervyn Peake, no one even knows who he is anymore, and that doesn't matter. And you should just write screenplays for kids to read in a book form. Maybe. I'm not doing that, though. I try to do good shit. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Have a great, great day. Peace out.